It is time to check in with Turning Point's White House correspondent Monica Page at the White House as it gets darker and darker and darker as the unconstitutional time change has befallen us all yet again. I'm not going to go into a diatribe about time change, but Monica, good to see you. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. Big things happened at the White House. President Trump doing a bunch of things regarding campaigns and elections, specifically in New York, in New Jersey, in Virginia, in California, even. But I'm not entirely sure how much he's going to participate there. What's the president got on the schedule this evening?
Well, you're right. It's going to be a very busy evening for the president tonight. He's calling into New Jersey and Virginia's tele rallies. He'll be speaking to officials. I believe he's speaking to people on the phone pretty much all day today. There's been a Marine standing outside the West Wing Oval Office pretty much all afternoon. So I'm assuming that business is going down in the Oval Office as it stands. But he is closely following the races in Virginia and New Jersey. We've got Jack Ciattarelli versus Mikey Sherrill in New Jersey. We've got Abigail Spanberger and Winsome Sears in Virginia. Of course, the president really pouring in a lot of money into both of those campaigns for the Republican side, of course, for both New Jersey and Virginia. We're going to be watching that very, very closely. I know here at Turning Point USA, we've really been pushing to get out the vote, especially as it pertains to New Jersey, because New Jersey's facing a really close race. That could be maybe a 1%, 1 point race. You don't even know. It's going to be very, very close. And I think it's going to be the same kind of feeling on the ground in Virginia, the next town over from us here. But all eyes are going to be on this race. Everyone's going to be heading out to the polls tomorrow. So people will be up all night. I know that it's daylight savings here. You're hearing a lot of yawns at the White House. So people are still kind of getting used to the time change, but it's going to be a long day for a lot of these reporters, especially tomorrow, as the numbers come in, as the polls open and close, beginning and end of the day. So the president's definitely keeping a very close eye on both of those races.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see. We talked about it a little bit earlier in the show of how tight some of those usually reliable blue states have been,
Yeah.
and hopefully everybody's hoping for some good news coming out of that. You talked about the journalists going to be up late doing a lot of work, especially
Mhm.
when the numbers start coming out of all of those very important elections. Speaking of journalists, there are some new guidance. There's some new rules. Tell us about that. We're just about what 2 weeks away, 2 weeks past the utter conniption and meltdown over the Pentagon's very reasonable rules, and now the White House seems like they're doing a similar thing. Tell us about that, Monica.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly when these new rules have just started to be coming in, and that's what comes right after the Pentagon, like you just mentioned. So, how it usually works in the West Wing of the White House is that you have your lower press area where you can kind of check in with some of the press people down there. What's going on the schedule today? Is there something I should know about? What's for planning purposes only? What should we be aware of? And then you've
Mm.
got the upper press area. So that's where the press secretary is, the senior communications advisors up there, and a lot of the upper level staff are up there where you can make appointments to meet with them or maybe even just check in on them and get some scoops or some exclusives and even exclusive comments as well. But the recent rules just came down this past Friday. We got an email from the White House saying that the upper press area where we could usually go and check in and stop in, say hello, is now going to be off limits for reporters. Now, while many think that this is something that's causing a meltdown here at the White House, it's not exactly unprecedented. Bill Clinton did a very similar thing back in 1993 where he blocked reporters from the upper press area when he took office. But here's the thing is that there are some new rules, some new ways information is being spread within the White House by the National Security Council, kind of taking on more of a responsibility as far as information is passed. So because they are mostly established in the West Wing, they want to crack down on any sort of leaks, any sort of national security issues or information. Stephen Chung, he's one of the communications secretaries up there, is one of the top ones, and the president's assistant. He posted on X recently saying there have been reporters that have recorded secret conversations on their phones when meeting with these top advisors and top
Mm.
officials in the White House. And there have been reporters that have had their ear to the door trying to eavesdrop in on specific conversations behind closed doors. People are trying to listen in and eavesdrop. That's not okay. That's not appropriate. So the White House is putting an end to it, saying, listen, if you want to get an interview or if you wanted to have a meeting or talk to any of these upper level officials at the White House, set up an appointment. just email us, reach out to us. It's really not as difficult or as crazy as the left wing media is trying to make it out to be. But it's the same kind of guidance as the Pentagon, exactly what you just mentioned. But of course, the left is melting down, saying, "Oh, this is an end to transparency at the White House. This is unprecedented. We've never seen anything like this before." That's not exactly true. You could still get your information. You could just talk to the lower press area, schedule an appointment. You'll be fine.
Well, Monica, you know where I stand. If you can't wear a banana suit in the Oval Office as a journalist or reporter, that is censorship in my United States of
Mhm.
America. Monica Page, Turning Point's White House correspondent. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thanks so much, you guys.
Thank you.